And welcome into our next leg on our race around the world here at the Pitstop Pals, part of the Reality Realm Network. My name is Kevin Oliver,
And my name is Bruce Heller, and I would love to be the owner of a bamboo stick launcher.
and he's not going to be. But that is another story for another day.
Mostly because I don't have access to it.
That's not true. You could buy it.
I don't know where. I've only seen them in those little Facebook reels.
There's probably like a link in the comments or something. Or
Never.
Google it.
I never check. I just send it to you and another mutual friend of ours and say I
Uh-huh.
want one, and I get told no by both people.
Exactly. And we are back after 2 weeks off because I decided that Brett didn't need to be the only Reality Realm host that likes to travel, but I
Yeah.
didn't. But I didn't leave the country like he did.
You went to Baltimore.
That's not leaving the country.
Well, yeah. I didn't say it was. I just said you went to Baltimore.
I said I didn't leave the country, and you said, "Well, you went to Baltimore."
Never said Baltimore was out of the country.
No, but "well" would mean that you were pushing back on my statement.
Yes, but you're implying that I think about things before I say them.
We all know you don't.
Hmm.
Anyway, and so we are doing a double episode here, episodes 8 and 9. So Bruce, do you have any quotes from "We're letting race brain win"? Actually, first, do you know who said "We're letting race brain win"?
No.
It was Carson.
Nice.
Do you have quotes from that episode?
Yeah, so I have Josiah at the beginning talking about student loans and said he feels like Sally Mae is looking over his shoulder behind him with a knife, which is just funny. Made me laugh because I have a private student loan with them. And I don't like I'm not looking over my shoulder about it, but that was funny.
Hmm.
Um Hot chocolate for me is like lukewarm chocolate. I don't do hot food at all. And I said if he had said spicy instead of hot, it would be Kevin. Kevin finds milk too spicy.
Yes, I do. You keep going. I'm right
I
here.
have spirits were high but delusional. I do have where I have we're letting race brain win from Holden. I didn't get rice brain for some reason.
No, it's race brain. You have it from Holden?
Yeah.
Interesting. There was like three or I talk about that in my notes. There was literally like four different teams that referenced race brain.
And then I have this is what I want to wear to the Renaissance fair from Jack.
Hmm. Okay, well, I have, as Josiah's walking across the hot coals, he just kept saying, "I'm on the beach, I'm on the beach."
Nice.
Um, the express pass burnt 40 minutes off of our lead. It also burnt my feet. That was Alyssa. Um, on my ripped piece of paper here, I have, we had to get, we had to get in body of, a body of wet surrounded by men dancing and chanting, which sounds like a wonderful Tuesday to me. That's what Jack said.
Sounds like a cult. With no context, just hearing that quote, it kind of sounds like a fantastic cult to join.
We have bibliograph or whatever from Melinda. She was trying to say biblioteca, and they weren't even in a Spanish speaking country, so I'm not sure why.
I
Because
don't
they were
know.
going to the library, so she's trying to say biblioteca, but she said bibliograph or whatever.
And the bibliograph is where you cite your sources on. That's not the library.
No, that's a bibliography.
Oh well, I forgot a few letters. Same thing.
Oh, and then Erica said, "That's not the same language, Mom."
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Um, that looks like a pretty socialist star to me.
Yeah,
That was from Holden. I got to do Bulgarian cardio was also from Holden.
nice. That was fun.
Yes, and those were my quotes of episode 8. So let's dive right in. So they started out, and we are staying in Bulgaria from week 7. We are to drive 25 miles to into Sofia, Bulgaria to Lake something that I can't read and I can't remember because it's been 2 weeks.
Lake Ariana is what I have written down.
There it is, Lake Ariana. I just was trying to write small and then it got to where I couldn't read it. And we find out that there is an express pass available here, and it is fire walking. They have to walk across hot coals. And Alyssa and Josiah, being the first team, decide they're going to go for it. Um, every other team decides they're going to forego it because of the lead that Alyssa and Josiah had on them. Uh, and Alyssa, for some reason, is excited for the hot coals, and Josiah is not because Josiah, ironically, living on the border of Mexico growing up, does not like hot things.
Yeah,
How would you feel about doing this Express Pass challenge?
I wouldn't be looking forward to it for sure.
Hmm.
Like, I wouldn't be like afraid to do it, but I would be dreading it a little bit.
I feel like I'd be a little afraid.
Yeah,
Um, But after they go to the Express Pass, we see where everybody's supposed to go, which is to the Jordan's Day Festival. And they are going to meet this priest, and he's going to give them a blessing and then throw a cross over their back, and they have to go retrieve it out of the water.
yeah, and he's standing on a bridge when he does that.
Yes, yes. And so it's a pretty easy task here. No real way to mess it up, but it's just kind of like get it done.
And in the water, they're surrounded by a bunch of Eastern Orthodox Christian people that are just standing in the water singing and dancing.
Yes, because that's what you do in Bulgaria, I guess, is stand in water while singing and dancing.
Just bizarre, but I kind of love it.
And so once you get this done, you are to go to the Russian Monument Square. And we find out that we are using no taxis for the rest of the day,
Yeah.
which is an important piece of information.
You would think that would be pretty easy to understand.
And um,
That ended up not being the case for one team.
no, no, it didn't. And I have Melinda and Erica are crying about something, but I'm not really sure what.
I don't have anything about that, so I guess we won't know.
No. Anyway, once they got to the Russian Monument Square, they had to open a snack shop door to find their next clue, and it looked like a file cabinet, honestly, or not a file
Yeah,
cabinet, like one of
it's
those
really cool.
double door things.
And
Open.
the amazing Race 37 marking on the door that designated it was really cool looking.
Yeah, and they would open it, and then there was just a little window at the bottom of it where a person was handing them a clue. Um, so once again, a random task they had to do that didn't really require any skill. Um, but okay. And once you got this clue, it had route info to go to St. Clement Oridsky Central Library.
The Biblioteca!
That's the wrong language, Mom.
Not anymore. I changed it. Bulgaria speaks Spanish now under my authority.
It's better than the bibliograph.
Or a bibliography. I graduated. I don't have to make bibliographies anymore.
And once they got to the biblioteca, they had to use a Cyrillic cipher to decode a book, and it was a Bible verse. Bruce, can you tell me what Bible verse they were decoding?
No, because I didn't write it down.
Yes, but you should know because you're a Bible college student.
I don't remember what like the verse they said it was, and B, it's
They
not like I have the whole book memorized.
they didn't say which verse it was on the screen,
And
but
this was
it's a
2 weeks
pretty
ago,
famous
so
Bible verse.
this was 2 weeks ago. I don't remember what they were reciting to the person that was checking.
John 1, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God.
Okay. I probably recognized it in the moment. I just don't remember it 2 weeks later.
But it was a weird translation because it said, because I've always seen, and the Word was with God, and the
Yeah.
Word was God. And this time it was, in the
Backwards.
beginning was the Word, and the Word was God with God, and God was the Word.
It
So
was
it was just
yeah.
backwards there, and it was weird to me.
It was Cyrillic. Some languages order their sentences differently than English does.
It does. It just I would have honestly, if I was doing that challenge, probably not even tried to decode it all the way and went because I would have known the verse and then been wrong because I had it in the wrong order.
Yeah, that
And
challenge was really hard.
that would have frustrated me.
Yeah.
Um,
This challenge was hard enough. We saw teams working together on it.
we did multiple times.
Yeah, we don't usually see that.
Yeah. And we even saw teams not working together, but as they were leaving, telling other teams what they needed to do to figure it out.
Keep
What?
going. I'm still here.
What are you doing?
Um, I'm in my dad's office at my house, and I just
Uh-huh.
noticed that on a table by the door, he has a big bag of Jolly Ranchers, and I was gonna go take some, but the bag has not been opened yet.
You can still take some.
Nah, he's got a bag of Lifesaver hard candies over there. I'll grab a couple of those when we're done.
Hmm.
Even though the gummy Lifesavers are better.
I agree.
Gummy everything's better.
I agree. Well, I think that Jolly Ranchers are better as the hard candy than any form of a gummy Jolly Rancher. But
Are gummy Jolly Ranchers a thing? I haven't tried it if they are.
well, it's not just a straight Jolly Rancher, but there's like Jolly Rancher themed gummies
Uh,
around.
honestly, the gummy Skittles are great, and like OG Skittles are one of my favorite fruit flavored candies. But the gummy Skittles are fantastic too.
Skittles are kind of mid.
I disagree. They're fantastic. Now, and we'll get back to Amazing Race in a second. Me and Kevin took a road trip last month, and we stopped at a gas station on our way back. They had gummy shacks.
Gummy what?
Shaquille O'Neal, remember? They had the
They
gummy
did. They did. That
bag
was
of
weird.
gummies that looked like Shaq's face, and I almost got one, but I got sour worms instead.
That was wild.
I still have a picture of that in my camera roll.
Of course you do.
So we're going to the bibliography, and
And and anyway, there's a certain group named Carson and Jack who on their way to the bibliography are on this bus and they see the Woodstack guy.
yeah,
That was
I noted that down.
that was wild. And he kind of like helped him.
That's
And
fantastic.
so I was this made me think. I was listening to the Rob Essa podcast Amazing Race recap last week and it's Mike Bloom and Jessica Leese and Jessica Leese brought up this point that made me think, and I'm not sure how I feel about it anymore because I thought in the moment that this was really cool and really funny that the Woodstack guy, and I don't think this situation's a big deal, but situations like it could become a big deal because this Woodstack guy, I am 99% positive would now be considered an employee of the Amazing Race.
Why?
because anybody who is a clue giver is going to be compensated for their time.
Well, yeah, but that his job is done by this point.
But he's still on the payroll. He probably hasn't even been paid yet.
I mean, I
And now
got
he's
let go
helping a
from
team.
Chick-fil-A. My next check didn't come till a couple weeks later. I'm still on their payroll. I don't work there anymore.
But like I said, I don't think this situation itself was a big deal, but things like it could get a little hairy if and I know that it wasn't planted like this, but it was just kind of like the idea of it could turn into something that is not favorable.
Honestly, they probably never thought this would happen. Like, what are
I'm
the
sure
odds?
they didn't. I'm sure they didn't.
I love it. It's so cool that they saw him again.
I just thought it was an interesting point. Um, and while they're running into the Woodstack guy, Alyssa and Josiah are frustrated with their cipher. They can't figure out what's going on. And so as John and Anna got it and left, they gave Josiah and Alyssa the clue on looking in the back. Um, and as John and Anna get it, they get their next clue to go to,
The
uh,
Socialist Art Museum.
the, yes, the Socialist Art Museum and into the Central Military Club, which brought us to the roadblock of the episode, which is who wants to step back in time? Do you want to explain what the roadblock was, or do you not remember?
Yeah, let me find it.
Okay,
It
I can, but if you got it, go for it.
go to the Who wants to step back in time?
Yep.
So we're learning a complicated dancing routine, and it's
Mm-hmm.
Bulgarian folk dance, and naturally this made me think of Phineas and Ferb. Do you
Why? Why?
So there's an episode called two episodes actually called The Beak. The Beak Part 1 and The Beak Part 2. And they build this super suit and Phineas is talking about all the different like elements that went into this of like strength and stamina and this and that and Bulgarian folk dancing. And then Ferb looks at him because that's wild, and Phineas goes, "What? You think I should include more Bulgarian folk dancing elements?" Oh, less. Man, I thought we were on the same page there. But Bulgarian folk dancing always makes me think of the Beak.
I love that.
The Beak. The Beak.
Um,
Good episodes. They're all
all
good, but
episodes of
still.
Phineas and Ferb are good.
Yeah. The Beak is funny though. I mean, they're all funny, but
But yeah, they had to do a complicated dance routine, and they had to be in these Bulgarian folk dancing clothes. And the people who did this were Mark, Josiah, Anna, Jack, Holden, and Melinda. Um, but obviously not all of those teams are there yet because right after this roadblock gets introduced, it takes us back to the cipher where Han and Holden are working with Melinda and Erica. And then Jack and Carson show up, and Jack and Carson realize that the clue to the cipher is flipping it upside down, and Holden sees them do that, and so he starts to do that. And then Melinda and Erica are not doing that, and so they leave because they want to go get a check because they think they got it, and I just got a bunch of random letters. And so Han and Holden are talking with Jack and Carson, and they're both like, "All right, let's kind of work together here and not tell Melinda and Erica that we know what's going on,"
yeah,
which
that
I
was
thought
wild.
which I thought was an interesting move. Um, I think it was the right move for Han and Holden and
Yeah,
Jack and Carson probably. Um, Morality comes into question, but it's the race, and if you don't make this decision, you might be the one going home. So I don't really blame them for what they did.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, back to the roadblock. Mark got the dance on his first try because he's a dancer,
Yeah, that was
which I
dope for him.
expected. And at this point, I realized we're not going to have a detour. Again, 2 episodes in a row, we did not have a detour.
That's true.
And I thought that was odd. And then my suspicions were um, correctly proven as we got route info for a pit stop at St. Alexander Nevsky Cathedral, um, which is one of the biggest cathedrals in Bulgaria that can accommodate 10,000 worshippers at any given time.
Yes.
Um, then Carson and Jack and Han and Holden finally get their clue or get it right, and as they're leaving, Han and Holden tell Melinda and Erica they need to flip it over. Holden tried to tell him part of the phrase. Han stopped him and said, "We gotta go." And she was questioning whether they should even have told him. And Holden says, "We have to tell them." And he referred to their integrity being in question if they wouldn't have told him. And I said, "What is this, Survivor 48?"
Huh. Nice.
But here we are at the pit stop, and Brett and Mark are team number one, winning $7,500 cash each.
Woohoo.
Um,
They don't
it
win
had,
a trip, they just get straight cash.
yeah,
Everyone else wins trips.
there was another one or two other cash episodes here.
Oh.
Yeah, it usually goes cash trip, cash trip, cash trip like that.
We'll get there at the end, but the trip prize from the second episode we're covering that I watched last night was to a place that I've been.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
Mm-hmm. Um, Back to the dancing. Josiah and Anna both get it on their third tries. I thought it was interesting that Anna took 3 tries here, considering that she was the dancer.
Yeah, that was weird.
Mm-hmm. But it's whatever. They both got it, and they weren't in. Oh boy! And Bruce would not get it in 3 tries. This is so cringy.
Don't care, it's fun. You think I care
And
if people are cringing about what I do?
what?
You think I care if people are cringing by me?
Oh, obviously you don't.
I once at summer camp, and I'll get down a side path here. At the church camp I help out every year at canteen, I get a Mountain Dew and a Kit Kat every time. And for the late night one. And the last night of camp last year, and the canteen at this camp has these like picnic tables on it. So I stood up on one of those, called the attention of everyone, and pretty much the whole camp was in there at that point. And I just ate my Kit Kat, and they don't like the way I do that. So I had a whole canteen of middle schoolers booing me all at once, and it was fantastic.
As they should have.
Sorry, I don't want to take time to play with my food before I eat it. I'm so terrible.
You are terrible.
I'm just gonna eat it. I'm not gonna waste time playing with it and breaking it apart when I'm eating the whole thing anyway.
It's one movement. It takes like 2 seconds.
It's 4 movements.
I mean it one at a time. I'm talking about one break of the Kit
You
Kat.
know what takes less time? Chomp.
That's
Hershey
messed
bars
up.
too.
That's messed up.
Hershey bars, I've tried to break them apart sometimes and they don't break evenly. Sometimes they break in these weird chunks anyway.
Because you're not doing it right.
Chomp. It solves
No.
all my problems.
No.
But all this to say, the cringes, the boos, it doesn't bother me. Sometimes it fuels me.
Everyone is using this term race brain, and I'm still just like everybody was using it, and I just didn't know where it came from. I was so confused because everybody was using it, but then I'd never heard it talked about before.
I think it's because they're all running a race and their brains are tired from running that race.
Yes, but this is season 37, and I've never heard that.
Well, now you have.
Now I have. Um, Jack and Carson thought that uh, the
Excuse me.
the step back in time was going to be a history roadblock, and so they chose Jack to do it. And then it was a dancing roadblock, and they should have had Carson do it.
It does sound like it would be a history one, honestly.
But it's never so uh, glaringly obvious.
I disagree with the Italy episode we're about to get into with who's feeling saucy. There's only so many things that could be.
Saucy can also mean like I don't know. A lot of people use the term saucy. Who's feeling saucy in a different way?
My mind went straight to pizza or pasta. It's one of those two things when you're in Italy.
Well, if you say so.
That's where my mind went at least, but my mind usually goes to food. And we'll get to that pizza challenge because I had a really funny text I sent Kevin last night while I was watching the
Yes,
pizza
we will
challenge.
talk about it. Also here, I just realized at this point, my mom told me it had been going on all episode. Melinda and Erica used a taxi. Evidently, they used a taxi like 4 times. I missed it at the first, but they
Yeah,
literally, it literally said, "Do not use a taxi."
it
And they
said
used a
must
taxi.
not use a taxi, and they misread it to say you must own like you must use a taxi. Like that's the only thing you are allowed to do.
Yeah, which is a wild statement. Like, why would that be a rule?
Why would it be a rule that you can't? These are all these are all just thought of out of midair.
Right, but it it's so normal to use a taxi that they wouldn't say you must use a taxi.
Fair enough.
Anyway, Josiah and Alyssa, they are team number 2, followed by John and Anna, team number 3. And then we go back to the roadblock and Jack. I'm not sure if it was his first attempt, but it was an early attempt that he got the dancing done. And Holden got it on his second attempt, and Melinda got it on her first attempt. But Jack and Carson get team number 4 here, and I have written down that Jack looks like an elf.
Nice.
And
Jack looks like someone, and I don't know who he looks like, but he looks familiar.
he looks like Jack.
Well, good point.
And Phil makes a statement here, and I want to know your opinion. Of course, he says one of the greatest comebacks in the Amazing Race history. And I know you aren't super familiar with the history of the Amazing Race, but how do you feel about this statement that coming back from sixth place to fourth place is one of the greatest comebacks in Amazing Race history?
I would agree with him, not in the sense of sixth place to fourth place, but they were like multiple hours behind the next team in front of them after the last leg, and they climbed 2 spots. That's crazy.
Was it multiple hours?
Well, because remember the leg before was the hay stacking one when teams were finishing, and the hay stacking was the first challenge, and only one team was there.
Right, but I'm not sure that Han and Holden and Melinda and Erica finished hours before Jack and Carson.
I think they I think they were either done or finishing the last challenge when they arrived at the haystack. They were a long time behind the next team in front of them, though. I don't know the specifics, but
Right.
like from a placement wise, it doesn't look like that big of a jump. When you consider how far behind they were, it's impressive.
That's fair. Um, Han and Holden, they come in as team number 5 here. And Erica and Melinda are team number 6 and are our next team to be eliminated. Phil points out that they misread a clue. We find out Melinda and Erica never had this mother-daughter relationship, and that this really helped their bond. And
Aww.
aw. And so Bruce, any thoughts on Melinda and Erica as we wrap up episode 8?
Well, a couple of weeks ago, you asked me to make finale predictions. I don't think Melinda and Erica are going to be in it. But I do think Brett and Mark, Alyssa, Josiah, Jonathan, and Anna are going to be in it.
Okay. That's not what I asked, but okay. I
No,
appreciate that.
I gave them Melinda and Erica. I liked them. I don't think they're going to be in the finale.
Right. I was asking like thoughts on them as a team as we see them leave.
I hope there's a race of extinction that they come back from.
Anyway, did you happen to power rank that week?
I did.
Do you want to tell us what they were?
Yeah, sure. So, fifth place was Han and Holden. Fourth was Jack and Carson. Third was Jonathan and Anna, and then second Brett and Mark, and first Alyssa and Josiah. So it's the same as finishing order, but one and two are flipped.
Guess what?
What?
That's the exact order I had.
It kind of has to be at this point.
Yes and no. But I don't think we'll have the same order coming out of the second half of this, which we are going to jump right into now. The episode that aired last Wednesday that Bruce watched last night, the Pizza de Resistance, and I have no idea who said that, but they're going to Naples, Italy for the first time ever. Bruce, do you have any quotes from the episode that you just watched?
Yeah, so here's the thing. I was in a bit of a mood while watching this episode.
You were
Like
all pissy about your blues.
I wasn't necessarily pissy. I was just
You texted me and said,
I
I
did
hate everything.
I did text a few people and say I hate everything. I was just feeling very defeated. Like I get it, like peel the curtain back. They were a wild card team that took the best team in the league to game 7. I wasn't upset we lost. I was upset we lost because the Jets tied it with 1.6 seconds left in regulation. We were so close to winning.
Hmm.
So I basically what I have written down for quotes is because I forgot to do quotes because I was in a mood. Is all the pizza puns between Josiah and Phil when they were
That
finishing.
was so funny.
There was like 7 of them they rattled off back to back,
That was so funny.
and I never wanted it to end. I was in a better mood by the end of the episode. Enough time had passed at that point, but oh, I was sad last night.
Yeah. I have We Don't Need Nonas coming out of their house saying, Shut up, Americans.
I feel like that's just kind of the world's thought towards us at the moment.
Jack said that. Um, let's see what else. I got Be One with the Cheese.
That was funny.
Han said that.
That looked hard.
We aren't even bad, bro. Also from Han. How many Panelle? Anna asks. And John says, Dos. Once again, we are not in a Spanish speaking country.
We are in a Spanish speaking world.
Josiah's response to uh, who's feeling saucy was, She's always saucy.
Hmm. Smooth.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and then when Carson was making the pizza, he made this really small pizza, and the random pizza guy goes, "This is the mother, this is the son,"
Yeah.
because his pizza was so small. I thought that was hilarious.
The cheese braiding looked way harder than I thought it was going to be when he first described it.
Yeah. I don't think it actually really was that hard, but I think everybody made it harder than it was. And I have a note here as we start because man, I know Expedia is like the thing here, but like did we really need to say, all right, everybody, get on your Expedia app and book your hotel and your flight? And we had like a 2 minute scene of everybody on the Expedia app on their phone picking things out.
It reminded me of something else because I've been binging Shark Tank for the past however many months. There's so many episodes, so I'm still doing it. And
And you took like a really long time off.
well, I'll just watch a couple episodes here and there, and then sometimes I'll just take a Saturday afternoon and watch 3 hours worth. But in some of the earlier seasons, I guess they had a deal with T-Mobile, and like someone would be walking out after their pitch, and like they'd have these scenes of like the sharks taking pictures of each other and stuff with their T-Mobile phones, and it was very clearly just like advertisement, product placement. But that's what this made me think of.
Right. So Alyssa shows us the bottom of her foot here, and it is burnt from the coals. Um,
The foot people probably loved that scene.
yeah, probably. Are you a foot person?
Absolutely not. Those people are weird. I don't
Well,
get it.
you're weird, so I didn't know.
I'm not foot fetish weird. Oh my gosh, that's an episode title.
I'm not foot fetish weird. Write it down.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
Um, but we start with some route info here. We're going to go to Castil Sant Elmo, a fortress built to protect the city of Naples, where they're going to have to drive to the bottom of the hill and then ride a funicular up the hill to receive their next clue. And they're just cluing it up here, man, because then they ride these funiculars up to the top of the mountain just so that they can get another clue that says go to Hunicella statue to get your next clue. And they have to rub the nose of this weird statue for good luck.
They do.
And once they get that clue, they get a detour finally. What are you doing? Oh, you're rubbing the nose of your screen.
Uh-huh.
Okay, gotcha. It is mandolin or mozzarella. Do you want to explain mandolin or mozzarella?
So the mandolin is an instrument that you're bringing to life by adding the last few pieces in its assembly.
Mm-hmm.
In mozzarella, you have to make these braids of mozzarella that the teams all said it was seemed to have a hard time figuring out how to make the braid. But also the braid has to be a specific weight between 250 and 350 grams.
Yes. And almost everybody did mozzarella. The only team that did mandolin was Jonathan and Anna
And
because
that
they are musical people.
they did
And
well.
what?
They did well.
They did do well. They did do well. But John and Anna and Han and Holden both got lost on their way to the detour itself. And it's because they were following each other. Um,
Yeah.
but then we go to the mozzarella where Brett and Mark and Carson and Jack are doing it at the same time. Brett and Mark got 4 out of 6 on their first go. Carson and Jack got 0 out of 6 on their first go.
Yeah. That was rough for them.
And then on their second try, they finally got 1 out of 6. So they finally knew what like a correct braid size wise, look wise was. Then they were cooking. But Brett and Mark on their second go, they got one more of the two they needed. And then Carson and Jack and Brett and Mark both got all 6 on their third attempts. And
Han
they
and
got,
Holden went to get their braids checked at one point, thinking, "Oh, we will suck, but we at least like have a mark to go off of." And then
and they
got
got
4
4 out of
out of 6.
6. Yeah.
And they thought they weren't going to get any. They just wanted to know how close they were.
They took a long time doing that because they thought what they were doing was wrong.
Yeah.
But the route info here is go to Monte Santo Quarter for your next clue. And so Brett and Mark and Carson and Jack are both on their way to do this. And John and Anna, they got their mandolin on their first attempt, so they are also on their way. Um, and Alyssa and Josiah, they took a while to finish their mozzarella, but when they did, they got it all six on their first check. They did it perfectly.
Nice.
Um, but once they get to Monostanto corner or quarter, they find out route info. We are grocery shopping. They have to. Do you want to explain grocery shopping?
Yeah, so there's these people up above, and they have these buckets they lower down to you on a string with a list and with grocery money in it. And you go buy them their food, and you put it back in the bucket, and on the bucket's still on the string, by the way, and you send it back up in the air to them.
You know, you missed a perfect opportunity to be a smartass.
Oh,
I asked you to explain grocery shopping.
you go buy food.
That's what I expected you to say. But
I'm
then you actually
helpful
did it right.
sometimes.
What?
Also, I feel the need to clarify the people up in the air are standing on like balconies. They're not just like floating. I should have said they were standing on decks. I just said there were people up above us.
Yeah, they're all levitating.
That's the image that popped into my head.
Well, good thing we don't see whatever's in your head, my
I've
friend.
said before I wish people could walk around inside my mind. Again, there's an episode of Phineas and Ferb like that where they walk around inside of Candace's mind.
I would have nightmares.
Probably, but it'd be entertaining.
If you say so. But Han and Holden, they got their cheese thing on their second attempt after being 4 of 6 on the first, and so they are also on their way to do grocery shopping. And so everybody is doing grocery shopping at this point, and it's a really easy task, so it does not take that long. And then they get a roadblock. Who's feeling saucy?
Yeah, so it's making pizza.
Yes, from
And
scratch.
I
That
was
they're
watching this challenge thinking, oh, this looks fun. This doesn't look super hard. And then I saw that the failed pizzas that got cooked got brought outside to the people that weren't doing the challenge for them to eat. So I immediately texted Kevin, you're doing this challenge. And he thought I was averse to making the pizzas, that I thought that looked hard. And I said, no, you're doing it because the people that don't do it get to eat the pizza.
and I told them, screw you. But you wouldn't know that when you're making the decision.
But I know that now.
It doesn't matter what you know now.
Well, it doesn't matter anyway. We're not going to actually be on it or get to do this challenge.
It's true. Um, and they got to deliver that pizza to the pit stop after they successfully made it.
Yes.
Um, so the people that did it were Carson, Anna, Alyssa, Brett, and Han. And
Carson
uh,
had to do it because if Jack had done it, he would have hit his number for the season.
yeah, Jack has done 5 roadblocks out of the 6 that he's allowed to do. So they wanted Carson to do it so that there'd still be some flexibility if there was something that Carson was just horrible at, which I would say that this was something that Carson was just
Well, you
horrible at.
found something Carson was horrible at, I think.
Hmm.
Good Lord.
Um, he self-proclaims himself as the worst cook in America. My response, then go on the show.
Yeah.
Um, but they had to make this pizza, obviously, uh with sauce, something, cheese, basil, and then a different cheese, and then a circle of olive oil. And Anna was the first. Her first job was Domino's, And
Yes,
so she's a pizza queen. And we see that because she knows to put flour on the pizza stone so that the pizza will slide on easy.
so smart.
So smart.
It's
Um,
savory and sweet, and it's what you want to eat.
Fried chicken and waffles. Fried chicken and waffles. Fried chicken and waffles.
Fried pizza and waffles.
Um, but Anna got it on her first try, and we find out that we are going to Castel Nuovo for the pit stop. Nuovo for the pit stop. Nuvo. Something.
Nuovo.
Nuovo. Nuovo. There it is. Um, and Carson is the worst pizza maker ever. Um, every little thing that could go wrong does. He didn't have enough oil or cheese. He made it too small. He made it square instead of circle. Everything that could have gone wrong did
And
go
they
wrong.
keep going. They're going wrong one thing on each attempt. It's not like it's all happening at once. He keeps finding new ways to mess up each time.
Hmm. And John and Anna are the first team, team number one. They get a trip for two, 5 night stay to Mexico City. You've been to Mexico City, Bruce?
I went to a on a mission trip to a children's home called Niños de Mexico after my sophomore year of high school, and they took us like some of the places they took us to just do sightseeing were in Mexico City. We spent time in the city one day, but he mentioned the Teotihuacan pyramids, and I've been there.
Oh, sweet.
Mexico City itself is cool. We drove around the city one day, went to a market.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the most populated city in North America.
Yeah, probably.
Um, but yeah, trip for two, John and Anna going to Mexico City. Brett and Mark, team number two. Um, we see Alyssa get hers done. Carson finally got his done, and the pizza guy, said that Carson's pizza that he passed with was the best crust of the day.
Yeah. How does that happen after him being so terrible forever before that?
Right? Alyssa and Josiah were team number three, and Phil and Josiah have a dad joke battle, which is what Bruce was talking about earlier.
So many pizza puns.
It was awesome. We see Han get her pizza made correctly on the first attempt. We see Carson and Jack come in as team number four, and then Han and Holden as team number five. And something that Bruce has been waiting for season upon season at this point for, ladies and gentlemen, the return of the non-elimination leg. Han and Holden are safe
And I'm
here.
happy it happened to them because I didn't want to say goodbye to them.
Hmm.
This is fantastic.
And you really have been talking about Eddie else forever.
Yeah, I just think they add a fun element to it. I don't know why they got rid of them for a few seasons.
I think it was all also part of that COVID stuff.
Well, they also added mega legs, so I feel like the mega legs kind of replaced it because we don't have that this season.
Yeah. When was the last time there was a non-elimination leg?
I think it was 32 because Kalen and Haley got hit the non-elimination leg twice, and they hit it on back-to-back legs.
That's wild.
Think that's insane luck. Not only hitting
Season 33.
not only hitting the NEL twice on a season, but it happening on back-to-back legs. It's just crazy.
Why they would plan it like that is just crazy.
I don't know, but that made me smile. That was fantastic.
Um,
Carson Carson's Pizza Store coming soon though. He's going to open that up.
Yeah, they have the best crust ever. And evidently there was a non-elimination leg in season 33, but I'm not sure. See, episode 5. Um, let's see, episode 5. Yeah, Akbar and Sherry came in as the last team, and I didn't like them, and I wish they would have gone home, but there was an NEL.
Yeah,
Next time on, John and Anna are gonna butt heads, which is not
again.
the first time of anything. And there's gonna be jousting.
Water jousting.
Yeah, and so that is all for this last episode. Did you have any other points to make about this last episode before we get into the real power rankings here?
Yes, I call dibs on the jousting.
We're not there yet.
I'm calling dibs anyway.
We're still not there yet.
I want to hit people with a giant stick and knock them out of their boat.
Okay, so let's do our current power rankings.
Jousting!
Bruce, who do you have in fifth?
Han and Holden.
Do you want to speak to that?
They already are last and they have to do an extra challenge, but I hope they don't go home. I love them and they interact with our posts online.
Yeah. I also have them here. I was very wrong preseason on how they would do, and I will own that. Um,
Not as wrong as you were about Nick and Mike, but yeah.
no, because I would argue that I'm more wrong about, or just as wrong about Han and Holden.
Yeah, but you didn't take Han and Holden first in the draft.
No, but I did say they were my worst team.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Um, and like you said, that they are in last and they also have to do the extra challenge. And so odds are just stacked against them. And these other four teams really are just really good, I think. So who you at four?
Carson and Jack.
Carson and Jack. Okay.
I think they're the fourth best team here.
That's deep.
Thank you. I try.
I also have Carson and Jack here. I
Wow,
still,
that's deep.
I'm still talking.
I'm
I,
funny.
no, you're not.
Why am I laughing then?
Because you think everything you say is funny.
Hmm.
Doesn't mean everybody else does.
I only need one person for it to count.
If you say so. But Carson and Jack, they are. I still am not sold that they aren't going to make the finale, but they've shown the most weakness out of the teams that are left.
Yeah, well, I think Han and Holden did.
Well,
But...
I mean, out of the teams that are left for me to rank,
Oh,
because I
I
already
thought
have
you
one.
meant the teams left in the race. My bad.
No, 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 no. What do you got at three?
I have Brett and Mark. They're really good. I think they're one of the three teams in the finale. I just think the other two teams are a bit better.
Okay. I actually have John and Anna here
Huh.
because yeah, they won this episode, but they have also had some. I think that with the higher highs, they also have had the lower lows.
I don't know this for sure, but I would guess they've won the most episodes.
I think they have as well. But like I said, with the higher highs, they've also had the lower lows.
Yeah.
And so that's why I put them here. What about two?
Jonathan and Anna.
Interesting. I thought you'd have them at one,
Well, two is almost one.
but it's not.
Yeah. I, they're really strong, but like you said, they're not always on the same page. And this last team I had ahead of them pretty much always is.
Hmm. I had Brett and Mark here at two. I think that they are. I think they're the most consistent team in the race. Um, Let me look at something real quick in that regard. Um, Amazing Race 37 here. Da-da-da-da. Race summary. That's not what I wanted. Results. There we go. Brett and Mark over so they had a couple low points. One of them was because of Ernest.
Yeah,
Uh, since week 5, first, fourth, second, first, second. Well, so I would say them and Alyssa and Josiah are the most um, consistent because Alyssa and Josiah have been third, third, first, second, third since then. But Jonathan and Anna were eighth, fifth, third, third, first. Carson and Jack second, first, sixth, fourth, fourth, and then Han and Holden fifth, second, fourth, fifth, fifth. Um, so I just feel like Brett and Mark have been like unwavering right here, which a lot of these teams have, but um, in the latter part of this race, they've been just as, if not more consistent than everybody else, and they have been more consistent than John and Anna. So that's why I have them here.
that's fair.
And that means your number one is Alyssa and
Josiah
Josiah.
and Jolissa, as I accidentally typed it a few weeks ago. They're the best team, so they're at number one.
I also have Alyssa and Josiah at number one. They are my favorite team left in the race. They have been ever since Bernie and Kerrigan left. Um,
Han and Holden have been mine since Pops and Jeff left, but I think they're going to be leaving next probably. So,
right. Um, Alyssa and Josiah are rolling. They're really good. They got this express pass that they can use on the next leg, and that is that they probably won't even need, honestly. But I, I just I just think they're set up in a great spot right now.
yeah.
So this was fun. We got a double in here, and we were able to make up for last week's absence. Once again, we are sorry that we were not available last week to do this.
His
Hey,
fault.
I don't even point at me, Bruce. I offered to make it work.
I didn't want you to have to worry about it while you were traveling. It's not your fault. I made that decision. I'm just joking.
Yeah, well, I was just making that clear since you were pointing at me.
Nice to know we're in this. Nice to know your screen is the same as mine this time. Sometimes I point at you on my screen and I'm pointing at nothing on your screen.
Well, you are pointing at nothing on my screen because I don't see what, I mean, because it's different than what the audience is going to see.
Yeah, the
But,
audience will see my screen because I'm recording. So to them, I'm pointing at you.
well, the thing is, I don't even have me like next to anything. I'm just like this little box up above you,
Oh, okay, you're on that view. Mine has us as like equal size boxes next to each other.
which is important because you are the one. Yeah,
I
I'm on
am the greatest.
there. Now I switched it. Your view is better for what we're doing. Mine is just the default view.
Ah. What if I like reached over and like pretended to pull something and you came into my picture?
You know what? That would be such a fun transition sometime. That
But
if we what?
we're getting sidetracked. We should probably wrap this up. The
Yeah,
audience doesn't
probably.
want to listen to us
Anyway,
ramble.
that being said, check out all of our reality realm things going on. Check out Tribal Council Chat, where I am eating in this freaking draft, by the way.
I'm not dead yet, though.
But I think you might be at a place where the best you can do is tied for first.
I'll take it after our previous two, where I
And
was out like halfway through.
for you to tie for first, I have to lose the next 3 weeks, and you have to get first and second.
I know, but this is still so much better than my previous draft.
Yes. So yeah, check out Tribal Council Chat. They're doing some great stuff with the current Survivor season. Check out all of the past content from New Generation Challenge podcast. They are currently on a hiatus until the cast drop of season 41 of the challenge. Check out any past roundtable talk coverage you might want. You can look back in about a month's time for us to have some content, off-season content for you there.
Yeah,
Uh,
that show will be coming back at some time one of these millennia.
I I literally just said next month.
I know, but I wanted to talk also.
Yeah, but it's the same joke.
Yeah, I didn't say I was original. I just said I'm funny. They don't have to be the same thing.
And check out our Redbubble store. Also, our YouTube channel, any of our socials at Reality Realm Podcast Network on TikTok or YouTube. Specifically, show Pitstop Pals on Instagram or Facebook. And uh, do us a favor, interact with us. We love your opinions. We love to hear what you got to say. If you have ideas, as we are coming to a close here on this season of The Amazing Race, I'd say we are 1, 2, 3 weeks from a finish, and then we are going to be back in the off season, doing some off season things like uh, rewatches again. And so if you have any suggestions for what you want to see from us, hit us up in the comments on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, on YouTube, on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, wherever you want to DM us. Let us know what you want to hear.
I have
Uh,
a suggestion that we should rewatch The Amazing Race.
well, that's a good start. Yeah,
I'm helpful.
good job, Bruce. Do you have anything you wanted to say before we wrap it up here? Since I just did all the plugs.
Go.
Anyway, all of that to say, the world is waiting for you. Good luck.
Travel safely.
Go.
Go.